So we're today, July 22nd, 2024. We're in the book of Isaiah, and also when you're reading 2nd Chronicles and 2nd Kings, kind of detail this same event or story, if you will, and it's about King Hezekiah. So beginning of chapter 38, it tells us that he was sick and he was at the point of death. It doesn't tell us what he was sick with, but that it was some kind of sickness leading to death. And so Isaiah comes to him and says, "Thus says the Lord," he's got a message from God. "Set your house in order, for you shall die, you shall not recover." Now, we all know that generically, right? That someday we will die. So set your house in order, right? And so it's not that it's on your mind, because you don't have someone coming to you and saying, "Hey, you're going to die." But we should never forget that that's part of the whole deal. You know, birth, life, death. And so how we live matters, because death is coming, and are we prepared for what's to come? And so how does Hezekiah react? He prays. And when you look at his prayer, we have to understand it in the context of it's an Old Testament prayer. Because what he relies on and what he calls upon seems in our mind from the New Covenant to the New Testament and today to be self-serving and to be, well, I've been good, so therefore you should, right? And that doesn't work. No, it doesn't. But he says, "Remember how I've walked before you in faithfulness and I've done what is good." And so what he's doing is calling upon the law and said, well, if you do this, you'll have good life and long life and you'll be blessed. And if you do this, you will be cursed. And so he's like, I fit the criteria for good life and for blessing. And so what's going on here? And so God responds through Isaiah, "Go and say to Hezekiah, thus says the Lord, the God of David your father, I've heard your prayer. I've seen your tears. Behold, I will add 15 years to your life. I will deliver you and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria and will defend this city." And then it's going to give him a sign, which he didn't have to do, but that's the mercy of God. And really that's God's mercy to us all the time. You know, he's not doing something like that per se, supernaturally, but he's not given us what we deserve, right? The mercy of God. And so he writes this whole letter, and he's the king of Judah. And then chapter 39 happens. He's got a new lease on life. He's got 15 years. And so an envoy or an ambassador from Babylon comes, and he just shows him around, right? He shows him everything. And he's proud to. And I think he likes the idea, you know, of the Babylonians kind of cozying up to them, because that's going to push the Assyrians away. Even though God's already said he's going to deal with the Assyrians, he's going to free them from that. What this is setting up for is the Babylonian invasion, you know, and it's going to be after his lifetime. But he asks, well, what did they see? Well, they've seen everything. There's nothing I didn't show them. Verse 5, Isaiah said, "Hear the word of the Lord of hosts. The days are coming when all that is in your house and that which your fathers have stored up till this day shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, says the Lord. Some of your own sons who will come from you, whom you will father, shall be taken away. They shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon." Then Hezekiah said to Isaiah, "The word of the Lord that you have spoken is good," for he thought, "there will be peace and security in my day." He's given 15 years to serve the Lord faithfully, to continue in the vein of which he was, and instead he sees that as an opportunity to serve himself. And so when the news comes that things are going to go bad in the future, he's like, well, at least it's not today. And there's a lack of care and compassion for the next generation. There's a selfishness in that. And, you know, he didn't ask for the 15 years. God said, here's what it's going to be. And instead of taking that with the grace that it was given and serving faithfully for 15 years, he seemingly is self-centered and self-focused for the time. And where does that leave us, right? Like, well, we don't pray like that. We don't expect, an answer to death is coming very shortly, although that does happen, with people at times. You got this disease, you got this thing that's leading to death, and okay, I got to make things ready. But not always, right? You don't always get that opportunity. But the way we view death isn't with this horror like Hezekiah had, and with the tears, because it's more like Paul saying, that's great, I get to be with Jesus. I hope I stay, it'll be good for you, but if not, I'm going to be with Jesus, so that's going to be awesome, right? Like, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And so we have a different view on death even. And so how we live life should reflect that. Because we're saying, okay, God, I know when I leave here, I'm going to be with you. And that's going to be the best thing ever. Help me to live in preparation for that in a way that demonstrates your glory, demonstrates your goodness to those around me, and to love and serve others. Till next time, keep growing little by little.